Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to Introduction to Business Organization. This is a series you're taking me, 21 series, 21 chapters, and today we're going to be starting chapter 9, looking at production management, production and operational management, looking from both from a service perspective or from a manufacturing perspective. There's a lot you're going to find out. Manufacturing in the U.S. is not dead, but has been replaced by the service sector, as most of you know. Most of the jobs and opportunities are in the service. So how do I use production or operational management, utilizing it in the service section, or what we would call process mapping or process management? Okay, so you are taking me on an online class or a face-to-face class, and this is a supplement. This is we've discussed this material in the classroom. You read the material, or we discussed this material in our discussion board. If you're taking me on an online class in Blackboard, you're utilizing the publisher's Connect Learn Smart and what do you call it, the ebook that was part of the requirement for this. So you've already been exposed to the concepts. So what we're doing in our lecture and our discussion is to how to take the new definitions, new concepts, new understanding, and able to identify them in our own processes, our own businesses, or looking at where we're lacking and how could we utilize some of this information we've gathered here and able to implement. Remember, I'm a business major. My doctoral is in business administration, focusing on international business. But as a business major, we are practitioners. We have some that are theorists that comes out in the future, but we are practitioners. What could I take today and able to help your business grow, or minimize risk, or help your process, help you improve, whatever the concern is? That's what managers are required to do now. We have technology at our, as you've noticed here, internet and inventory control, and different processes, technology that helps us identify areas, but we still have to think of the human element. Technology is not the human element. It will just give us a roadmap, for lack of better words, and some areas to focus in on, and we still have to see how will that affect our process, our teams that we discussed last chapter in forming or different kind of cultures. Okay, so again, so you're taking me at a community college, either at College of Lake County, if we're in Lake County in Illinois, or at Harper, if you're at the northern end of Cook County. Call up Business and Social Science and say, hey, what other classes Dr. George is taking me? If you happen to see this just on a YouTube, call up. It helps the publisher. It helps the community college, which is the backbone of small business and entrepreneurships in many communities. Matter of fact, in all communities, we are the ones that we train. We're the ones that help improve your, prepare you for those that go into your next degree program. But we also help businesses able to see different ways and still be very local and able to address the issues of a business that is in the locale that I'm teaching, or some other instructors are teaching, or if you're taking the same class in another community college. Make sure you utilize them. Your business, if you're a business owner, you're paying the taxes. If you're an employee, your business owner is paying the taxes. So utilize the community colleges, and to help the business main focus, but then also to help your own personal growth. So then if down the road someone has a business, you could get promoted, or you may go to another business because this one closes down, or the individual retires, or he wants you to, or she wants you to expand another location for him. So but in the meantime, so now the whole chapter here, what you're looking for is production. And when I look at production, we'll talk a little bit from the manufacturer. The author starts off, the book starts off real well with the service sector. What I mean? But if I'm looking at the service sector, it is a production. He talks about the Ritz Hotel. It's a production. How do I come in there? How do I eat? Or what's the process of me coming in at nighttime? How do they accommodate me if I don't have a reservation? And then if I do have a reservation, how to make sure my stay there very pleasant, so that I will come back, and if there's some kind of changes that I may need, or some kind of additional requirements because of my either my health needs or just my preferences. Will they be able to accommodate me? And that's what we're looking at in manufacturing. If I'm buying an iPhone, what color? So there's some customization to the basic process that I want. I could go get a haircut. Oh, by the way, do you want me to trim, give you a manicure at the same time, or would you like me to touch up some of the gray? Remember, gentlemen, it's not gray, it's silver. Ladies, it's gray, it's silver for us who are more distinguished. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to lighten up a little. Remember, those of you had me, or you already have me for nine things, but if you just pick me up on YouTube, I'm not reading off a script. I'm live, so I'll make the adjustments as I go. Okay, so let's look at manufacturing in the U.S. Well, you know, what's going on in manufacturing? Most of us, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. Knowing the manufacturer has very slowed down. China is the manufacturing hub of the global world, just because of sheer numbers they have there, plus because of the potential of growth in China or India, 1.5 billion in both of those markets, you know, India or China. So it's a lot of customers. So it's closer from a logistics standpoint for the larger corporations to have the distribution manufacturing right there in China. So this way you cut on the cost. Now China, it always amazes me that China has all the manufacturing because of the cheap labor and still shipping all the way from China all the way to the U.S. They can still undermine us or sell us. And some of that may be something because I'm not trying to go anything against the Chinese, but I'm just an open-minded individual. There may be some support from the government helping. And the U.S. is also helping you to a small business association, but maybe not to the magnitude that they're helping to the larger corporations, since they're mostly government-owned corporations. So there is kind of hard to say, well, I'm not giving any money here, and you're one big, or in this case, communistic party that has a larger share in the investment of a certain one of the Chinese organizations. But if you look at Toyota or some of the other companies, because of the tariffs and everything else that we placed on there, it makes sense for them to open up the facilities here in the U.S., even with our higher labor, but the cost differential is closer, the good PR is there, and a lot of the U.S. plants, if they're not productive because of the capitalistic system that we learned in economics, in our brief study of micro and macroeconomics, we have facilities that plants they could just walk in. Because, you know, we close down these plants because they're not generating enough profitability according to Wall Street, and we'll learn that later on, how they kind of direct the markets in the U.S., their review for the IPOs or the individual, initial public offerings, those that are publicly held, and you can see because we have private companies also. Look at China as a private company, so it's kind of hard. You know, you see some information, but you really have the whole facts in there. All right, so now let's go back. Manufacturing in China. Okay, so I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger. Remember, the concept maps you have, you already took all your notes, you did through the lectures. You're looking at this. I'm going to go too quickly. You could always stop it if there's something else. I go through all of them to make sure that you do not miss anything when we went through the lectures, and you're utilizing the software, the Connect software that helps you through repetitions. You know, it has a good learning thing. It has things to help you just focus on the areas that you are weak in instead of studying something that you already know on your areas. I think the interactive with software that the publisher provides here is an excellent tool. And so now it's just a real cap. So remember, these are about like 60 slides here, as I always mention, but it's only on 2 sheets. Add on, don't put all the words that I have. I got some areas. All you got to say U.S. experiencing. All you need. I do this more because it's for some of you, this is the first time, or you're just getting used to my mind maps or utilizing mind maps. In business, we utilize this for brainstorming or for presenting. It's a nice, neat tool. It gives you a lot of flexibility. You see the whole picture, or you can see just details of certain areas of it. Okay, so let's go. Let me make this a little larger, and I'll make this. Remember, you've got the maps. You can follow along, and you can always stop me, turn off my volume if you want. And you know, but the more sensitive you hear me, or you could put me on your like I say, YouTube. You could download me while you're driving, and sometimes just to remind you, here's somebody that talk over and over, and sometimes I repeat myself more than I should, but I'm an instructor, and when you're learning new vocabulary, new concepts, repetition. My grandson's doing something Taekwondo. There's a place in Lake Zurich, excellent. What do you call it? a place. A guy is a master in Taekwondo, Master Kim, you know what I mean? And small business operator, business is good. Why? Because he knows the kids, he knows the sports. He is Taekwondo is Korean, so he works for all ages and builds up the confidence, and their teams are excellent. I've seen some other places that are okay, but they don't go through the same. You could tell that he grew up through Taekwondo all his life, so it's like second nature, where other ones might have learned it at a later life. Not saying that they're any better or not, he just has a good one. So if you're looking for something like that, that's in Lake Zurich, and you know, and it's international, ties in for everything else. I always throw that in there because what's, you know, it's another service sector, and you may be working for that service sector. This is sport. Remember, you're an entrepreneur. You find something that you like, and now you're expanding. And what you're going to find out, some areas in the U.S. are experiencing economic growth while others are declining. No problem. And this, we're only talking on here. Now remember, we're talking about manufacturing. Remember, I got a larger. And here's my picture. Sometimes it's nice to see the visual. I could just have the voice, but you know, you can always turn me off, but you can always see the face. It's nice to have that connection. Remember, in business, you have to make that connection with you. I don't see you, but I'm making a connection. And you know, so you see, his, oh, Dr. George, I'll sign up for some of his classes. This helps him pay off his student loan. If you do something come up well, and you want to really help me out, I take. You know, I mean, just look at the school. Just sign up for the courses. That helps out all instructors and helps out, for lack of better words, you know, economic growth for everybody else. Okay, manufacturing in the U.S. Now, is it dead? When I was looking at something in manufacturing, I said for it used to take 1,000 hours. Now, because of productivity, we're so productive, fewer workers are needed because of technology. And this is Wall Street Journal. 1,000 hours, they could do it now in you know, man hours. They did it was very intense, even with some machinery in the steel industry. They could do the same work in 127 hours. That's the cost reduction. Sure, you have some new technology, you have to buy that, but you're looking at the long run. Does it make sense economically? Because it helps my business keep my costs down, and as I get my depreciation, if you can learn write-offs and everything else, I could expand my business. And I still have the quality, and I'm minimizing my expenses. And if the prices go up by my competitors and my prices, I could still keep them a little bit lower, but I can increase my profitability margin. The whole thing in business is understanding the costs differential and understanding where my money is going and where I could cut and where I can improve and never cut where it's going to shortchange the quality of the service to the customer, or you're going to lose them. You get what you pay for from the customer perspective, but I could minimize it because I'm thinking smarter, like we've talked economies of scale, you know, we discussed in previous chapters. What is made in the U.S., and here's a chart. Not, you know, it used to be, we used to be a software giant in the U.S. That's what we were known for. I think India is the one who's taken over that lead from us. And that's fine. Remember, we all have our own things. We come and go. Let me just make this just a little bit smaller. And if I do this here, thought I had it the right size. I can't get. Let's bring it in a little and bring it down. Remember, we're live. This is the same thing I'll be doing in the classroom. If you're the dean watching, please forgive me. Technology. Okay, chemicals and pharmaceutical, 8.01 billion. Transportation equipment, we still are good for cars, planes. You know, because, and if you really look at it, our safety features, our reliability, even though we had some issues with the keys with General Motors, that kind of hurt us for a long, you know, because then we're no better than the Japanese makers that had the issues with the airbag, Toyota did. So we're equal, but we still do come up with a very good product. Processed foods, yeah, processed food. We should be #1. Look at our weight. I'm only kidding, but that's what we're good for, you know. And just as employees in processed food, be all the restaurants, everything else, prepared meals, computers, electronics. We still employ. It's a good, you know, 1.2 million. And if you look at this, like 500 million in the U.S. or 400. I'm not looking at counting, give or take. Remember, don't say, Dr. George, you should know the number. Population goes up and down, depends what happens with population. I'm just giving you a general, probably in the ballpark. You know, for our population, that's still a good number. But you see, it's no longer software. We've lost that edge. We've lost that edge because software and development and everything else is basically more rational thinking. Some of our coding and everything else, some of the colleges, hate to say it, I'm looking at different sources. They're teaching them things in technology that I may not utilize in a business. I need coders. I need people who know the right code. I need the things to adjust. And I don't need all this other stuff. It's nice, but give me someone that comes out of college who could write code for me. And that's not what they do. They come out of college and know different machinery, different things, but they may not know what I need. So that's where a lot of, and community college is a little bit better because they could focus in on what that community that they're serving is required. That's why I always stress, go to community college. If you're a business owner, talk to the deans, talk to the president, be involved with the Chamber of Commerce. You always have community college involved in there and say, hey, this is what we need for our community. You're graduating a lot of things. We'll hire more IT people. I know both colleges do a lot for nursing because there's a high demand for that. So they have programs, very excellent programs in both College of Lake County and Harper College. I know that for a fact. And they supply a lot of hospitals, very well trained, very good, intense program. And, so it works out well. But still in the service sector. Okay? But utilize them. Tell them what you need. And then, they'll adjust because they want the customer, because the community colleges, if you're looking at it, the numbers are going down. There's not as many people, or the younger generation, the baby boomers, we didn't make as many kids as we did before. So what is the U.S. chart made of? Okay, 10 top U.S. Manufacturers. Computers, Apple, renewable energy, petroleum, and coal. We did that when oil prices, we did the Shell. I don't know if it's any good or not. Transportation, beverages, food, apparel, right? Food, Hershey's, it's still good. Coach. These are the large ones that are left. And there's some that have the American name, the brand name, but they are multinationals owned, or the headquarters that left the U.S. and they're underneath in a different country, and that could be for tax advantages, and mostly it's cost and tax advantages, because it's a company. Most corporations, whether you like it or not, is to improve shareholders' wealth. I'm a business instructor. I'm not here teaching a non-charitable organization, even though even a profit organization should be able to make some improve the wealth of the cause they're trying to accomplish. Okay. Let me move along. I'm going to try to keep this under an hour. Okay, top paying service jobs. And see, we changed this a little bit. The top paying service, no longer manufacturing based. 85% of the jobs are in service. Now, I just want to try. We have to increase a little bit more of the jobs in manufacturing. You can't be a country that's always servicing everybody. You have to make something tangible. Okay? And service could be doctors, medical, and everything else. Top paying service jobs in the U.S. are legal services as lawyers, medical services, entertainment, accounting, finance, and managerial consulting. When I look at managerial consulting, most of managerial consulting is how to reduce expenses or improve market share. Okay? All right, let's see. Again, business consulting and education, that's what I'm affiliated with. Yeah, but again, business is slow. I'm working with a lot of small businesses, and I enjoy. And what's a consultant is basically a teacher for businesses when that stream is going down. But businesses, as the economy picks up, and hopefully some of the businesses will require that services. But if you can't afford a thing of a regular consultant, I just want to throw it in. The SBA has it, and a lot of the community colleges has a business division. Specifically to not the traditional credit courses, but specifically to address your issues for your business, such as marketing and everything else, and they have experts that come in there and could help you that come from that field. Okay, how can U.S. business maintain a cooperative edge? And I'm always throwing in the education. I always because you need education. It just gives you a way of researching and looking. And again, remember, I always push community colleges, I think, to the best. So I got my start and everything else, and to the backbone of the U.S., what they call it, education system. Even though so 4 years may not agree with that. Focusing on the customer, maintaining close relationship with suppliers, practicing continuous improvement. We're a learning organization. We talked last time, not just adaptive. You learn, and then where do I need to change, where I need to improve. Saving and cost through site selection, where I'm going to location. Remember, because this is operation management, so where's my facility at? How close am I to the workhouse? How close am I to the manufacturer? How close am I to the hub of transportation? If I'm a manufacturer, get my goods out. Chicago, we have the best railroad section. We got the good highway section. You got the traffic and everything else, but once you get out of here, everything leads from here and could come out here at proper times, at the night or day, usually in the nighttime or early morning. Relying on internet to unite companies, internet connections, right, networking. Not networking as personnel, but networking computer system to computer system, so I can instantly, if I need something, I can order it. You know, look at Amazon. I order it online, I get it in 2 days. So they changed the rules a little bit now. You know that Amazon Prime is I have to pay. You know, I don't know after so many days I got to pay a fee for them, and I don't think that's right. Adapting new production techniques. Okay. So that's how you stay competitive. You become a learning organization, and I teach at another school that's what do you call it? Production. If I look at competitive edge, you know, a production relying on networking, so you could have something out there. Okay, nobody does it better. And they use Germany. Remember when you're doing benchmark and everything else we talked about last time? Germany's economy is number one, the strongest one, most powerful and respected economy in Europe. Remember, they went through a downfall. They rebuilt something in Japan. They lost everything else, but they had no place else from. But everything was destroyed. But to go from the bottom up, if done properly, structured properly, planned properly, organizational planning strategically, and everything else that we've covered in business and economy could go up. And same thing for your business. You have to think where you're going, not because it's free. And if it costs me more, free is not good. You have to always look at the costs associated, the time associated, where's my suppliers, and where's my customer base. And I try to find that happy medium, for lack of a better word. The most powerful in the years, Mistland, and that's a company, basically a German, you know, design their own machines and production. This was just on the oil prices. I guess I looked at $1.17. You go, man, that's a good price. You know, it's in euro, so it depends if the euro's strong or not. It's a little international. And the other thing, this is not in gallons, it's in liters. So liters are smaller than a gallon. So if you look at you see how you can look at that. So now, if you're international, I showed international because you know, my background is in international management, international business, and again, logistically, where I want to open up the business, and I have to understand, am I getting a good deal? And I push this in all my class. You have to have an international touch. There's no way you're going to be successful just on a local market. And most local markets never think international because they're so concerned about just the domestic market. But hey, you got the internet. You could sell, you know, and it's not with the cash. You're not doing every country. Once you understand how I get the goods and everything else in FedEx or even the post office and the exporting company or SBA will help assist you in doing that. You know, those are, you know, SBA.gov or export.gov. I think it's export.gov. And that could be long. They look at the SBA, that one, you know, SBA.gov, and they'll have everything there for you. You know, China has purchased many firms. Why did they purchase them? They want to dissect them, find out, studying how their production techniques. Now remember, if Germany's selling some of the firms, they're not either profitable or they need the money. And but they have to understand, you know, how did they do it? But remember, what works in one culture, how they do the production. If you look at manufacturing, that's a little different than service. Because services, you got to look at the individuals. Production, when we look at the different cultures, you could train an individual or educate an individual in a proper way of doing this once you have the process. But how do they do it? That's an edge. So they're look, you know, so Germany is the benchmark when we're looking at. Okay, what's production? Creation of goods using land. You know, the 5 factors of economics, production. You know, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and knowledge. That means, but I have to be able to. You know, we added on the freedom and the ability to keep the profit. But if I look at the 5 factors of production, these are at 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one more in there. Factors of production. Okay, production management. Excuse me, it's a little late at night now. All activities managers do to help firms create goods. And okay, now production process, you have inputs, land, labor, capital, and knowledge. That's capital should have been in here too, okay? You have production control, planning, routing, scheduling, dispatching, follow-up. You have outputs, goods, and services. Now look, remember, if I go too fast, I'm a lot slower than you have in the class. I talk quickly, You know, then I could do that. That's for Polish. That's just I'm very hyper. Most managers are very. It's not nervousness. Most managers are very excited about the product. I love talking about business. I love that's my forte. I enjoy business. That's and that's enthusiasm. And I try to put so much information just to at least expose you at this level. This is a survey class, so you get a good handle, a general idea what's operation and production management mean. Okay, and outputs is goods and services. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so now we're gonna. It's a little slow here. Okay, now operation management is specialized in an area in management, converts or transforms resources into goods and services. And this was in the book. I kind of like as a robot. And what's it doing? It's making food. It's eating. But look at the machinery. So if you look at our own body, we're a complex body. Who the heck created us? And I don't think, so if I look at this, you look at the body, there had to be a higher order or something that created this body. Because they still can't, and in my mind, it's only 10%, I'm only using 10%. I don't know how to tap into the 90%, I'd be all right. And they have a movie on that too. Okay, includes. What does it include? Remember, we're looking at, I'll move it over here so at least you see, and you can see the whole because you've got the concept map. Inventory management, quality control, production scheduling, follow-up service. Always follow-up, and you always check into any adjustments. The other one's operation management service sector. And here's the one, and I talked a little bit at the intro when we started, is if I'm looking at the Ritz Hotel, when I go in my hotel, my room is ready. If I have any kind of special need, in the hotel I was up in Boston, they have things if you could bring your pets along, and they have certain rooms that you could walk your dogs and everything else. And rooms are not for cat, they're cat friendly, they're dog friendly. I don't know what kind of pets you could bring in there, but they're separate from other people who don't have pets. Most pet lovers, they don't mind the other dogs a little barking, they're trying to, right? But I know the walls are insulated differently, but you're a lot more tolerant to that you versus a businessman that just wants a good night's sleep, doesn't want to be around any children screaming or party people. Give me the far end or closer to the desk rooms. But that's operational management. Includes fine dining, fresh flowers, and training every employee. Training for every employee. So that's part of the process. Okay. Okay. Now we're looking at production process. So here's our inputs. Remember we looked at this. Yeah, and I won't go. The other one is just the same thing in the concept maps. If you have that, I'll leave them all because you could basically now see how you got inputs, land, labor, entrepreneurship, and knowledge. So you could write the other ones on there to get you going. But here it is: planning, routing, scheduling, dispatching, and follow up. Okay. And remember, you can always stop it, rewind it, go forward and backwards. Okay, now form utility. When I'm looking at form utility, when we have that, there's different time utility, form utility, place, and possession utility. Those are utilities. But if I'm looking at form utility, how do I take a process and how do I change it into something that's cost effective and still marketable? The value producers add to materials. The creation of finished goods and services. An example, into the body of an automobile, they are creating form utility when a company transformed raw steel. Okay, good example. GU's basic production requirements, and let me just put this, group it up here, is when I look at GU's, the basic production requirement. Build products demanded by customers, unless there's something they don't want. If I look at Samsung and Apple, they're both competitors, but they're both always one ahead of the other one to build something that the customers want. Or they didn't know they want it, but they did a good marketing campaign and provided them that want or the need that they need. Okay, now deliver on time. Excuse me. You have to deliver. If you promise them in 30 days, and the sooner the better. I paid the money, I want it right away. That's the American way. Provide acceptable quality standards, which ones are both high quality. Provide everything at the lowest cost. Samsung's lower. But this is more of a brand recognition of a status when I look at the Apple product. But as the quality, I think the quality between the both of them are fairly comparable. Both Apple and Samsung don't make their own products. They're components from other vendors utilizing their specification and to keep the cost. I think Samsung's is $100 less than Apple and a lot of their products, but if I would look at the cost making them, they're the same equivalent cost. Apple charges a little bit more for the brand recognition, and the brand is worth so much more. Okay, delivered on time, provide acceptable quality. Okay, so that's the 5 basic. Okay, process and assembly in the production line. We break it down to 2 parts, the process manufacturer and assembly process. Okay, the process manufacturer is the part production that physically or chemically changes the material. In a restaurant, I have the eggs, and they put the oil or butter or whatever, and they're changing it to scrambled eggs or egg omelets, whatever. All right, so they're doing. That's the process manufacturer. The assembly manufacturer is part of the production process that puts it together. So now the cook makes it. He may pass it on. So somebody puts it on the plate. Somebody puts a fork on it. Puts a little parsley to make it look, presentable. That's part of the assembly process. And then they hold it and they bring it. They bring the silverware and they bring everything else together so you could have a meal with any kind of condiments that you need: salt, pepper, ketchup, if you're down south. Or a younger, my grandson likes ketchup on everything. Part of production process that puts the components together. Okay, so now let's go on the other side. Now, key production processes. Now, we have a lot here, so we're still doing continuous process, long-run production, turns out finished. Remember, we discussed all that. I'm just going to go real quickly. Production runs are short, intermediate, and most of them are adjust machines frequent to make different products. So customization on that one. Making U.S. companies more compatible. And again, I'm going to open them up. I'm not going to go into detail in this. You got computer aid system, use of computers to designs. And you have use of computer manufacturing. And here I'd like to do a 3D printer. Did it put in here? Let me just throw that in here. What the heck? I'm going to talk about, I go 3D printer trend. Okay? And I just leave that on here. There's nothing new on it. I just added that on here because that's part of the production. Remember, you're looking at this computer. So let me just move this up in here underneath mine. There we go. Okay? And make it bold. And you saw me create this live here. Okay. All right, so we have that. And you didn't have that in the book, but just put that in your mind. If we're current. We're flexible, current. We're changing to what's going on there. Now, this new one is coming up with this Sims. This new in this version from the publisher, computer integrated manufacturing. Even though it's been a while, just updating. It's basically uniting computer aid. So you have these other ones and computer aid manufacturer. So it's taking these two to make this one. CM is expensive, but it costs as much as 80%. It's expensive, but it cuts as much as 80% of the time needed to program machines to make the part. So this is, and this could be, you've got the 2 systems and 3D printers coming up. The cost is still very highly expensive. Not the little machines, the large ones for manufacturing. So you have an alternative to utilize these 2 to come up with something similar, but not like a 3D printer. It may be close enough. I wouldn't, I'm just looking for manufacturing prospect, and then down the road replace the 3D printer. So, but what you're looking at, you're taking the 2 here and you're actually creating the thing, but you still need the components. You're just putting them together. Okay, then we got the 3D printer, and then we have flexible manufacturing. Okay, and they've got this thing, they're designing machines to do multiple tasks so they can produce a variety of products. And here's their website. I'm going to go on here, manufacturing. And this company here uses flexible manufacturing to build motor starters, 26 machines and robots built and test the packaging. So now let's hit the site. Okay. And here it just made simple. It's just a site. I thought maybe they might have had a video to talk about products, so how to buy. So it gives you a lot of overview, good support. If I was in here just bringing this up, I wouldn't mind having like a video so you could, so people could see it, and it would be just a nice way of selling this. Okay, I wasn't sure. It's the first time I looked at it. That's just only from the author. Okay, lean manufacturing. What's lean manufacturing? Using less of everything than in mass production. I make so much, I hope to buy it here. I'm just using it as I need it, and I can control it because of technology compared to other lean companies. If I'm looking at lean manufacturers to other lean companies, it takes half the human effort, requires 1/3 of the engineering effort, half the floor space, carry 90% less inventory. Geez, my spelling check didn't pick up. Technology. See, I work on it and now it picks up. Half the defects in finished product. Mass customization, tailoring products to meet the needs of a large number of individual customers. More manufacturers are leaning towards customized mass customization exists in the service sector too. If you look at McDonald's, I'm just controlling McDonald's in the service sector. They're innovators. They're coming up. What does happen? They're losing market share. Part of the loss of market share, people may want something else. They don't want a Burger King, a Big Mac, or their a quarter pounder that's already pre-made. Do you want a little bit of this? I want extra there. Maybe I don't want it well, or maybe I want it well done, or I want it medium rare. Could that happen? If you're looking at this, so you have to look at it like a lot of the other stores. What do I get? I get the mass, for lack of better words. Okay, let's see if I'm popped up on here. Excuse me, something happened. Oops, not wrong one. What's going on? Okay, we're recording. I wasn't sure. Sorry. I hit a button by error. But I was live, so you're looking at me pause, just like you in the classroom if the projector doesn't go off right. Okay, so mass customization, tailoring product. Okay, like I said, so they're trying to compete with like the Chipotle's. We could get what you want, or some of the other places, the Three Guys restaurant and everything else. It's still a hamburger, it's still this, but it's more customized. It's still fast food, for lack of better words, but they'll try to accommodate your specific needs a little bit more to bring in that other clientele, because that's the market, that's the trend. The younger people, the Generation X, the Generation Y individuals, they still want fast food, but they want a little bit more of a social event to sit in and out, to sit down, and a little bit more upscale. Will McDonald's, Burger King do that? But that's something they're looking at, and that's something that operations are, because if I change something like that, do I have to change my operation, the way I'm making the hamburgers, or I'm providing food now? Because now it has to be more customized. Usually it's just like an assembly line. How do I do this? How do I change how they prepare the burgers at that thing? And because the fries, I want a little more burnt, a little bit more harder. I'm not saying this guy, because some people like them. I like them more softer. And still with the safety factor, but to accommodate individual tasting preferences. But that to be accomplished, you have to change the process. Very good. See how that worked? Okay, so let me just close that off. Okay, so now robotics and sensing. User robotics allows what? Manufacturing to continue 24 hours. People don't get tired. Or the people I do have, pretty soon I'll be at home watching their work. I just check in the robot. Error. I just do it from home. It could be that way. You never know. All right. Or sensors can detect problems immediately and changes can be made quickly. That I would like to know if my sensor goes on in my car, it says overheating, that it says 1 second. We'll try to find water from a reserve or redirect something so you could make it home for the next, you could drive for the next 50 miles until something's repaired. And you see the sensors now already letting you know that when your tires are low on your car, they have the sensors that sends the message to you there, your right tire is low, please fill it up. And so when you're looking at robotics and sensoring, look at it from how it's helping us in our everyday life, and now take it and now it's helping the manufacturing, so you know that it's the right component, it's the right test, it has the right blend, and then when I taste it, because it's made exactly the right way, it has that flavor in there. Okay. Nano manufacturing can be manipulated on material and molecular level. Tongue twister. Come on. How much more? Oh, I got a lot. Geez, I got a lot to go on here. I better speed up a little here. Okay, operation management planning. Planning helps solve problems like materials planning, MRP, material request planning. Let me just bring this here so you see the whole picture. Remember, you stop this, write it down, take a note. Computer-based operation management systems that use sales forecasts to make sure parts and materials are available when needed. And it will work tie in later on. We're going to look at just-in-time supply management. But this one is where it's already connected to my vendor and everything else. And they also have a safety stock, but they know because the distribution when I plan that out, I'm close to where my source of the material is for my manufacturing. I don't have to wait for it to come. If it's a longer thing and I know there's some issues because of the weather or some kind of upheave because of the political system, I have another source that could come in, but I have to plan for that. Or if I know it's coming, I already make the adjustments ahead of time. So if my sales are at this level, I just do the double order. But you still have to have some human intervention because this is just ordering from past historical data, or it's looking at sales as it's going, and looking at what they think the trend, depending on the models that they're utilizing. Now, if I look at the ERP, and this is an enterprise resource, it's a newer version of MRP. Combines computerized function into one single integrated software using one single database. You have to really trust your supplier and your vendor on that because you open up a whole door into your processes. Your purchasing, okay, now that's part of operation planning. Function searches for high quality material sources by procurement individuals, finds the best suppliers, not the cheapest, the best, and when I'm looking at best, they may be a little bit higher, but they're very effective. The quality of the goods are there. Depends on your brand quality or where you're at. If you're a mediocre product, then you look at the lowest cost. But if you're like Apple, you're looking at the best and how close they are. A lot of times, because they're a good partner to be at, I may logistically think to open up a manufacturing or a supply house or something closer or distribution to satisfy just one customer. I'm taking a gamble. Remember, because if their sales drops, I should have another place to divert my production because my production will be very closely tied to their sales and their brand rollout for new products. But a lot of times it would be a good investment. Okay, you have to look at all factors as a manager in operations and managerial production. Okay, quality control. Number one, customers don't like it, even for the lower price. You want low price but high quality. ISO 900, 9000 one is, and I have a little bit up a whole slide that ISO 9000 is that there's a process that I know where every component is. If there's an error, people could stop the process and correct it and move forward. It's not a quality control person at the end. There's still someone looking at it, but anywhere within the process, there's steps, and I monitor the process by a certain procedure that's been in place and certified by the ISO 9000 International Standards Organization. A lot of, if you're doing it internationally, you have to be ISO 9000. Even colleges, if they're going to be teaching someplace else, they have the whole thing for an ISO classification. It's not the 9000, it's a little different for education, and ISO 1400 is for environmental. So if I'm doing something in a company, then and my suppliers have to be ISO 9000, or it could be small or large. It's just, it's like underwriter's laboratory here in the U.S. If you're looking at this, it has to be certified that it's safety equipment. There's another one. It just eludes me. It's just where I have a close relationship with UL, so I know a lot about their processes when I was in the corporate world. Okay? So we took care of that. Now the other one, you're looking at the facility layout. If I look at facility the assembly line layout, it's going to make sense if I look at it. A little slow because I got it larger. Workers do only a few tasks, right? So this is a single layout. Nice picture. Modular layout. Teams of workers produce more complex units. And here's the thing, right? So it's a little different layout, your production. And this could be also for the service sector. We call it process mapping. And similar equipment and functions are grouped by process layout. Again, you have the things how it's done by certain processing, bending, assembly. And it's no different if I'm a restaurant, preparing the meat, cutting the meat, frying the meat, getting it ready, bagging the meat, giving it out. So you could set up the same thing similar, and a lot of times they are set up that way. Okay, fixed position layout allows employees to congregate around the product in like a house. And that's a good thing. But you have to look, when we're going to talk about the Perk and the Gantt chart, at what time do I come in. I can't put on the I can't come in there and put the roof unless the carpenter puts the wood down. I can't put in the plumbing unless I have it framed on the inside. I want to be the first one in if I'm electrical, if I'm a plumbing, because then once I get in, the plumber has to work around my equipment. But usually there's different heights by standard and codes that I have to follow. So there's a certain safety distance between electric and water don't mix. So you don't want to electrocute. So there's certain safety and requirements that an architect has to know. But they all could work at the same in the same location, but at different timing, depending on what they have to do. Okay, so let me just close this all up. It looks a little bit big, but it's not too bad on your sheet. Okay, so that's the facility options. Okay, so now I'm looking at my facility layout: efficiency, effectiveness, production line, store layout. Buy easy. I'm looking at facility layout, depends on the process performed. You have two things: service, the way it's laid out, help customers find the product, and then you have manufacturing, improve efficiency. And this is no different than if you look in the internet, how the internet's laid out. And remember, later on in certain classes, I teach retail merchandising, most manufacturers, small, large. You have a security camera for protection and to keep compliance, to keep the customers honest, and also my employees from finding an opportunity to steal from me or do something unethical. It's nice that I'm on camera, so I behave, for lack of better words. But so you got all that video. As long as I'm gonna have it, no one looks at it. Look at the videos and look at it. Is my facility? Are people always bumping into the same rank in the morning? Oh my God, I didn't realize, because I can't be there all. Small store, you can see there. You're in the back, you can't see it. Or people always, it looks like they're moving stuff and always getting in the back. Move that other stuff. They're always going for the back, and I got the stuff they're buying is in the back. It's concealed by the front. They have to find it, move it around. Maybe my sales goes up. You have the tool there. Utilize it for more than what you're using it for. For security, also take a look. There's people, consultants, who look at the layout, and by the security cameras, they're not looking at shoplifters or anything else. They're looking at where there are blind spots where you lose the customer. That could be a spot that you could maybe change the layout for security reason. But you're looking at how do customers come into my store, or new customers, returning customers, they go one way, so that I could segment that. New customers will go this way, maybe to the left or to the right, so maybe I have more stuff for new people to enhance them. Because remember, they come in, they look at a few things, they walk out, they don't go through the whole store, so what they see at the beginning may be, for lack of a better word, the costly, and they may just for a reason that's your only area. You got the high end, everything else is medium to low prices, but what they see in their mind, they say, this is the store's out of my price range, and they walk out. Or this store has all inexpensive goods, and I'm looking for a higher quality, and they walk out. Remember, your store and your layout, everything else is a reflection of you. When you go to somebody's house, you can see how their house is laid out. Is it all real rigid and everything else is not very flexible? Is it modern, or is it more relaxed where you could come in and you could kick back? It's the atmosphere, and all that makes a big difference, okay? And then the facility location, geographic, close to the markets, close to manufacturer, close to your labor, where your workers are coming from, close to your customer, reduces time to the customers. Information technology is firms increasing flexibility in terms of location, and telecommunicating, working from home. Okay. Now the next one is inventory control. Just-in-time inventory is competing in time. Internet purchases. You have that operation manager management on the internet. Let me shorten this up. Remember, we already discussed this in class. If you're short, look at the Connect software. You could go in there, not the homework assigned. Go into the library. The ebooks are all available for you from the publisher. You will do well. This is just a summarization, just to see what you meant. Stop me, look at it, think about it, go backwards. That's how I learn it. Or when you're driving, put it in your MP3 player on there, and you could hear it. Sometimes business outsources engineering, designs manufactured at other companies. These relationships are managed through the internet. Many companies are developed through internet strategy. Okay, so telecommunicating. Firms increase flexibility in terms of location, working from home via computer. I have more of a larger workforce, and it minimizes my own facilities. I have to maintain them. I have enough when they come in. I could stagger different departments coming in for meetings and other departments there. But if I have a major issue, I could bring them all in. But so I don't need all that space because they're at home. They feel more comfortable. Remember, technology allows me to see how productive you are, not to just turn on a computer. Cause I can see if they're actually moving. It really tracks you more than you want with the proper software. So it's out there. Just keep an open mind. Okay, control procedures. You got quality. Customers what I want. Sigma 6 and Motorola is really strong in that. Quality measures that allows only 3.4 defects per million opportunities. They look at opportunities, and it's basically you define what the quality standards are. You measure them, you analyze to make sure they're how much of a tolerance you're allowed. You try to improve them, always tighten it up. Hopefully with technology or the software or learning about the process or doing some different kinds of, and then you process improvements, and then you have the control, and the control is basically looking at did it meet my standards that I defined. If not, it's similar to if I look at ISO 9000, but these are basically processes that you go through. They talked about the Beldridge Award, and instead I have it's an honor to get that, but you have to follow. You have to win that award, and sometimes it takes a lot to win the award. You have to be really good, it's more, I think, more the paperwork and very time consuming. And for some businesses, they don't see the cost effect unless they're looking at new business or they're trying to be a competitor and say, hey, we have the highest quality because we're utilizing a Six Sigma quality process, or we're utilizing ISO 9000. And look, Six Sigma quality, they still have ISO 9000 because some companies, if you're not certified by ISO 9000, they don't care about this one. This is what they are looking for. They're my customers, or they're my suppliers, or they're my buyers, and that's what their requirements are. So you may have both. Okay, so now what's the perk? We talked about that. The steps involved in analyzing sequences of tasks. Same thing if I'm doing that in bringing in a new process or service, estimating the time needed to complete a task. And you look at doctors, they will come in there. They don't want me to sit there for 2 hours. I get upset. I say, hey, I got an appointment. You charge me if I come in late or if I don't show up. So they're pretty good. 15 minutes, unless it's something complicated, or they'll try to apologize, reschedule, or maybe whatever. You know what I mean? But and that's how they have to look at it. So they're analyzing how long should certain tasks. Let's say, what do you have? You have a rash, or you got a cough, or you have a temperature. It may be more to analyze a certain symptom than another one, and they adjust the time accordingly. And they have some cushion in the time for emergencies. I'm just using that as an example. Estimating the time needed to complete a task, drawing a Perk networks, illustrating the first two steps, identifying the critical path. Okay, and then here when I look at it is a Perk chart for music video. And this in the book, I just brought it in there in case you forgot. Here's how you start, and here's your critical path that you need, but you could do the different sequences that works. Okay, good? And this is your critical, oh, this is, sorry, excuse me, from Perk chart. This is my critical path. All this other stuff could come in here, but I have to do all this first. And so this has to be completed, and this could be done at different times, but it's not going to stop me if the dancers ain't selected, or the dance is not there, or the rehearsal I needed, but the dancer's measurement, the costume is not made. I could do all this before the video, but I need that at different time frames. Okay, close that. And then the Gantt chart, and then the constructions usually utilize a Gantt chart, shows a bar graph shows what projects are being worked on and how much has been completed. And here's a Gantt chart for a doll factory. And I can go into that. You look at that. We talked about it before. Okay. And I have now how to be. Last thing. We're almost done here. How to be an effective manufacturer. And this is just a thing. Focus on customers. Number one, maintain a close relationship with the customers and suppliers. ISO 9000, right? Continuous improvement. And this is just a definition in case I talk too quickly. International Standard Organization for Standardization, Worldwide Federation of National Standard Products, ISO 14000 Environmental Collection of Best Practices for managing an organization impact. And then we have focus on cost, site selection, downsizing, outsizing, empowerment, quality, rely on the internet, and new production technologies is robots and computer. And if I'm looking at this, focus on cost and everything else, where you're going to go downsizing. I mentioned in a previous video that I went to pick up my grandson for something at a school, and if I didn't have my GPS, I would have missed it, because when I saw the school, it almost looked like an office complex or a doctor's office, where you have the different rooms, and it's designed to the same thing. You have the elevator I can look at is designed, but it's a school. It's a grade school. If Remember, grade school up to kindergarten, I think the sixth grade or whatever the grade is. If I don't have any more, because the population becomes like in Lake Forest, where it's empty nesters, for lack of a better word. There's still some kids in there, so the school system says shrink, and they shrunk not because of anything else, because of the population growth. Okay. So if this is shrinking and I have all these buildings, how do I get rid of the school? No one wants the school. It's going to cost me too much to remodel. But the school is already strategically designed that it accommodates not only the classroom design, but it also accommodates that if I have to sell the building because the population growth isn't there, I could turn around and I could convert that building very easily and sell it in the market as an office building, because I'm in a good location. A lot of times I get the road traffic, and people already know where it's at. So, we're at the old middle school there, and we could be called the middle school doctors or something else. Okay, I made that up. I'm not too good there. All right, so what do we have? We finished everything else. Let me make this. Bring this down to 150, and bring this down to the first level, and we'll end this first level. Perfect. All right, so did we cover everything? All right, so we finished with operation. Remember, manufacturing, if you're doing operation manufacturing, operation planning, both colleges have degree programs in there at associate degree that will help you. The individuals that are teaching at both community college, and I think almost most community colleges, right? I could be wrong. The majority would have them, because that's something that there's always a manufacturer base or a service base that I need operation management or construction base that needs that skill set, either entering into that job market or improving on my own manufacturing or my own service that I'm providing to the customer. So we've covered a lot here, a lot of terminology, a lot of information. Remember, it's not only for manufacturing, it's also the same techniques, same conceptual ideas you could utilize in the service sector. We call it process mapping. All right, okay. So you have everything else, form, utility, process, and here form, I'm doing a service, I'm providing something else that the customer is willing to pay, but he or she expects quality, whether it's in a product or quality in the service. Remember, in the product, I could always judge quality, I could measure it. In the service, you're only as good as the last time I serviced you, because service is a non-tangible. If you had good service at the Ritz Hotel all the time, I always recommend the Ritz, high quality professionals and everything else. But I get one day because if an employee did something wrong, or he was obnoxious, he was rude, and then will that change me? I already have a different image. Is the Ritz management being weaker, or is the brand name something's going on here, or is it just a one-time occurrence? And I go another Ritz, and something else like happens, and I see there's a pattern, so I know something's going on, and now the service or the quality goes down. Do you see how it happens? So you have to have, when you, a lot of times you use, after I stay, they say, how did you like the service? Where could I improve? Or when you leave, is everything to your satisfaction? If not, I'll say, well, this didn't work, and they may give me a complimentary something else to give me, so I do a nice report, or say, we'll make sure that doesn't happen again, or do a reduction on my cost for my room, because I wasn't completely satisfied and I'm already paying a high price. So, so they reduce it 5-10%. That's all part of the process also. It's important that you look at the quality and how the customer service, whether it's a tangible item and they can see the quality, or it's a non-tangible. I remember when I had the Apple heavier, even though it's lighter, but it's metal. I had the Samsung that just felt more plastic. Even on the pictures, they looked like it was metal. and it made two different. But even though they're both good, but in my mind, I thought this one was built better, and that could be all. But that's all psychological. That's what how you deal with service is all the psychological. That's what all marketing is. That I feel that I received a good service from you. If not, how do I make you get that emotional feeling that yes, this was a good services, and they use me as a benchmarking for other hotels or services they try out and then always come back to me because I'm number one. All right, so my name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is Introduction to Business Organizations. Today we covered Chapter 9, Production and Operational Management. We got another chapter, I think it's Motivation, Chapter 10 going out forward. So look me up again or sign up for the class. You could get a quick overview here, but once you're in the class, you actually know how to apply it. You could ask the questions, and then plus you get the credits or the certificate that you do have some understanding. Not that I just watch a lot of YouTube. I actually went to college and did homework and was productive. I'll see you next time. Bye.